The reason why there are so many more DUIs on New Year's are for some of the reason you might kind of understand. It's because a lot more people are out on the road, going whether they're going to parties or friends or family members' houses. It's not like a normal day. It's not there aren't just pockets of traffic. There's traffic everywhere, and then you've got that compounded with it being a holiday where alcohol is heavily involved, champagne, for example. And you've got a number of impaired drivers on the road who don't even necessarily know that they are impaired because alcohol impairs your judgment. So they think they're fine to drive. And yes, it leads to a lot more DUIs than we normally see.
And these arrest rates, when it comes to DUIs, spike, of course, as well as alcohol related injuries and, God forbid, fatalities in some cases. Are there any safety tips that you would recommend for people who might not, like you said, they might not know that they're impaired and just have like a kind of like a safety plan?
My general advice, and this is universal, not just during the holidays, is don't drink and drive at all. You should either arrange Uber or Lyft. You should have a designated driver. You should, if you're going to stay at a friend's or family member's, or if you're going to celebrate at a friend or family member's house, you should consider staying overnight. If you have a drink somewhere, I would, you just maybe consider not driving at all if you don't have a designated driver. So generally, I would just, I'm an attorney, so we are trying to avoid risk at all costs, and that's the best way to do it.
And what initially got you into becoming or made you want to become an attorney, specifically for DUIs and criminal defense?
At the end of the day, I like helping people, and especially, people that don't always have someone to stand up for them. I started my career as a public defender, so I represented, for lack of a better word, the voiceless, people who don't really have someone to speak up for them. And then I've kind of found my niche in DUI defense just because I really enjoy the science of it all. I've done or done a lot of advanced training into the forensics, the chemical testing, the blood testing, breathalyzer, urine testing, and all that. And so I kind of like the combination of the legal aspects as well as the scientific aspects.
And when it comes to drivers who might have that plan in place to get a ride from a friend, or if you hadn't been drinking at all and you plan to drive home, the thing you have to worry about is other drivers on the road, obviously. And alcohol impairment accounts for so many of these crashes on New Year's. Is there any way to, I guess, avoid those drivers in like maybe like lower congested areas?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is absolutely something that you should consider if you're going to be out on the road, even if you're sober. You can still, just like any other day, you could be in an accident with an impaired driver. Obviously, the root word being impaired, they don't necessarily know they're impaired. They may very well cause an accident, and you don't want to be a part of that. So you should be especially careful, as far, anything, going back to driver's ed, your defensive driving, leave proper space. If you see someone driving like a maniac, stay away from them, get away from them. I mean, it's kind of just general, maybe kind of common sense, but I would say just amplify your defensive driving. And yeah, like you said, maybe take less traveled, less frequented roads.
And when it comes to DUIs, and if you don't know that you're impaired, and it could be just a simple mistake to you in your mind, but it can elevate to harsher penalties and even felonies in some cases if you have, prior offenses or if you cause an injury or, God forbid, any deaths. So it's very important that people are aware that it's not just one simple mistake. It could elevate to even higher consequences. And if you could speak to some of the ramifications that would result from that.
Yeah. So like you said, one simple mistake could really spiral. DUI is a crime that, I say crime. I mean, it's absolutely a crime, but it's not, it's not violence. It's not something that, it's a crime that, doctors get, lawyers get. I've represented police officers. Almost anybody can get in trouble for DUI. And I say that. So as far as, increased penalties and things of that nature, states are going to vary. But in general, if there are, say, you've got prior DUIs, it's going to enhance the penalties. If you have, say, caused a crash, or if there are injuries, God forbid someone was killed, that's going to substantially, increase what you're dealing with. Um, yeah.
And you mentioned how DUI laws differ from state to state. Is there any way you can speak to some of our audience members? We primarily cover Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas. Are there any like major discrepancies with the DUI laws between them that you know of?
Um, so I would say, typically most states split DUIs into two different categories. You have the part of it that just deals with the driver's license. It's administrative. It's typically civil, and that happens first. And then you also have a criminal aspect that kind of most people understand, that happens later. So you're looking at all kinds of things, regardless of what state you're in, from a potential driver's license suspension, to maybe you have to have an ignition interlock device in your car. If you get convicted, you may have to get some kind of high risk driver insurance that can be thousands of dollars. You could have other collateral consequences if say you're a truck driver and you've got a commercial driver's license, and your career could be in jeopardy. Or if you're, say you're a lawyer like myself, we would have all kinds of issues with getting a DUI as well.
And in your opinion, is there anything specifically that everyone should be aware of, or any piece of advice that you have to people that you would stress to them?
Yeah, I would say just plan out your night while you're sober, because alcohol by its nature is going to lower your reaction time. It's going to it's going to impact your judgment. So don't make decisions while you are under the influence. Have your night planned out beforehand. Have an Uber or Lyft arranged, or plan on doing that. Have a designated driver, or go to a destination where you don't have to leave. So after you have that first drink, you don't have to worry about driving, and you can enjoy your night.
And is there anything that we didn't cover today that you wanted to touch a little bit more on?
No, I don't have anything else. I just would say, don't let most people don't wake up on New Year's Eve, thinking that they're going to get into an accident. So don't let your night end in a jail cell. Let it end with memories, as it should.